Foundation. Dr. Olatunji Nasir for his opening remarks. Let's put our hands together for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I first use the opportunity to apologize. I won't call it a crash program, but there are loads of flaws in the program, which is actually affecting currently affecting the program of event. So, on behalf of the foundation, I would like to tender apology to all participants here. We are so sorry that the whole program we will continue. Have to skip some program and continue so that we don't delay. So, Your Excellencies, our Royal Majesties, even though they are not in attendance, they might be on their way. Special guest speaker, that's the person of Dr. Mrs. Koyo. She's still in our midst. Distinguished guest of honor delegates, eminent board members, staff volunteers, ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you this afternoon with immense pride and gratitude as we celebrate our foundation's first year anniversary. Today marks a significant milestone in our journey towards becoming a leading treatment and modern rehabilitation center in Africa. Through effective clinical interventions powered by evidence-based theory and practice, research and training development that promotes quality care and total satisfaction of all stakeholders. Over the past year, White Rock Addiction Awareness Foundation have made remarkable strides in our quest to regularize and legalize registration for various governmental agencies within Nigeria and outside the United States of America. Similarly, our commitment to serving communities has yielded positive results with regional expansion covering strategic locations including Lagos, Abuja, Ekiti, and Enugu State, meeting and exceeding set target for the 2024 calendar year. This further increases our reach and accessibility with new Abuja Administrative Office awaiting to be commissioned soon. Your Excellencies, my eminent Royal and Imperial Majesties, distinguished guests of honor delegates, fellow comrades, ladies and gentlemen, I am most delighted this afternoon to share with you that White Rock Addiction Awareness Foundation medical outreach initiatives have positively impacted on over 3,000 lives across Abuja and Lagos, offering on-the-spot drug screening exercise, clinical assessment, client education, and appointments. Other tests include blood-borne viruses, hepatitis A, B, and C, and HIV, working in collaboration with other NGOs, most especially Soaring Eagle Health Club, Abuja. We have equally partnered with numerous organizations locally and outside Nigeria, fostering collaborative efforts to address community challenges. Our addiction team has also undergone extensive training aimed at broadening our expertise and service delivery. Challenges in doing service delivery. It is noteworthy that despite the vital role in addressing social issues, White Rock Addiction Awareness Foundation, like other NGOs, faces various challenges, particularly from public officials, government agencies, and the community, hindering the effectiveness of NGO activities. This includes financial exploitation by government officials, lack of trust, as many NGOs are perceived as fraudulent or scam-oriented, eroding trust and making fundraising and humanitarian projects a difficult task. Additionally, complex registration processes, excessive bureaucratic red tapes, delayed approvals, and limited resource funding from donors and private sectors constrain foundations' capacity to deliver services. Other challenges are social stigma, capacity building, low community engagement, and security risk facing by staff operating in high-risk areas. To this end, addressing these challenges requires collective effort from government, civil society, and the private sector through policy reforms, increase access to funding and enhancing capacity building. Collaboratively, we can strengthen addiction NGOs and effectively combat drug and alcohol problem in our society. Empowering youth for nation building. The year theme is focusing on youth as a catalyst. As we all know, youth are backbone of any nation, accounting for 1.8 billion people worldwide. According to the WHO, 1 in 5 individuals aged between 14 to 25 experiment with illicit substances with negative consequences, including health issues, social problems, trauma, and economic burden on the society. The situation resulted from unprecedented challenges of the 21st century, most especially drug and alcohol abuse, threatening youth potentials to effectively contribute to nation building. I would therefore like to use this medium to call on the government, civil society, private sector, community leaders to promote youth empowerment and mitigate substance misuse. Empowering youth to overcome drug and alcohol challenges requires a multifaceted approach through education, leadership, mentorship, community service, and economic empowerment, aimed at fostering resilient, responsible, and engaged youth. It is our hope that with collective effort from the stakeholders, we can ensure a brighter future for the youth of our nation. Fundraising appeal. As we celebrate our achievement, acknowledges constraints, your continued support is crucial to our success. I therefore urge everyone present to kindly donate generously to our fundraising effort, enabling us to reach more beneficiaries, enhance our medical outreach programs, advocacy services via media, and strengthen our community partnership. Lastly, gratitude and recognition. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would like to extend heartfelt appreciation to our Power members, advisors, staff, and volunteers for their tireless effort. Board members for strategic guidance, and our donors and sponsors for their generous support, and community partners for their collaboration. Together, we can change our world, and the time is now. I thank you all for honoring our invitation, and I wish you successful anniversary and fundraising ceremony. God bless you.
The field of addiction psychiatry, in that psychiatry. And it's all about the youths, the young people, always coming into our world, and you just wonder, why are those people, why are they young people? And I guess that's why this organization of this program, White Rock Addiction Foundation, are just targeting the youth. And because of this love for the future of our country, I want to say a big thank you to them. Can we give them just a clap? Thank you very much. I want to say a very big thank you for this effort, thinking about Nigeria and wanting to give back to our country. And I know that we will work well with this organization, and there will be huge success. So don't mind us in Nigeria. We are a good person. Okay, so let's start now. Let's go to the first slide. the first slide. Can you put it in the slideshow? First, number 1 slide. Number one, first slide. Thank you very much. Well, I'm not talking about youth, future, and addiction. And it's so important. And I'm sure people are even afraid for all of the country. That where is this country going to? Those gory pictures they've shown, we are not afraid of them. Those boys are going to be all right. Since White Rock is around, they're going to help us. We're going to work. Professionals are working together and we make good of our country. Let's go to the next slide. I'll tell you about my name. I'm taking everybody back to school. When I went to an high school, I didn't go to an evening school or grammar school like some adults here. So when we started school, they said we should teach definition of terms. When we said, sir, is that how you taught us? We should start with definition of terms. And that's what we should start with. The next slide. So permit me to take everybody back to school. For those that are not in school in years, we are all going back to school today. So don't mind me. We are building something for a good understanding of what this presentation is all about. Who is the youth? And the United Nations declared that people between the ages of 15 and 24. So we are targeting people within this age range. And a country like our own country, the country with its own people, culture, financial, language, geography, and political autonomy. I'm just trying to let us know that for all of Nigerians, we have autonomy. We have our own language. We are not dependent on anyone, and that is what is expected of us. So when we talk about our country, Nigeria, this is what is expected of us. The next slide. And the future, a time that is to come. So as a nation, we are thinking of a time that is to come. We are thinking of what happens in the next 20 years. And that is what White Rock is thinking ahead of. How do we build a safe environment for all? The next slide. And now, let's talk about health. What is health? The health of our country, the health of the nation. You know, when I saw this picture that I put here, I saw elderly people, young black Africans, smiling. We don't need all the money to smile. We are healthy people. So let's define this, what this definition of health is. A state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just the mere absence of disease and infirmity. And I will tell anybody here that nobody has ever reached this level. We are all work in progress. Anywhere all over the world. Don't let anybody scare us. This definition is an absolute definition. So it is work in progress for everyone. So you know, and as Nigerians, we have work in progress, like everybody here. So let's move to the next slide now. And let's define mental health. I want to take a look at that picture on that side. Those are young girls going to the stream with fresh water, and I don't know if they are jerry cans. They have a way of hanging it on their backs to show you that they devise me. So let's what's the meaning of mental health? And this is a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential. My own potential is different from yours. So when you are in a state of good mental health, you are realizing your potential. You can cope with the stress of life. So the stress of life in Nigeria can be from other places. But when you're in good mental state, you can cope with the stress of life. You can work productively and fruitfully. But you're able to contribute to your own community. So if you can achieve this, good. Like those girls, they devise things to cope with their own stress. I've not seen people carry plan like that before. But it shows that look, people are being productive. People are having ways to cope with the mental state, with the stress of life, so that they can be productive. The next slide. Now, let's go to this addiction. It's a chronic relapsing neurophysiological disorder characterized by recurrent uncontrollable urge to perform an action that produces reward despite negative consequences. And this is what addiction is. And these are what the picture on the right. So the addiction is not just about substances of abuse. You know, substances of abuse includes alcohol and all those drugs they use. Colorado, all those things you hear on the street. They are not substances of abuse and abuse. But addiction is a broader term. And look at it. It can be, you can see that person that has to keep touching the phone and those substances of abuse. Then let's go to the next slide. Yeah. And let's compare into substance abuse or behavioral addiction. What we look at, you know, when we in about psychiatry, we see more substance abuse. People use different substances, alcohol, tobacco, all these substances are there. But we are seeing behavioral addiction now. And I didn't want to create this awareness for us. Some people just have to press that phone, even when they are going to fail an exam. So there's behavioral addiction. There's gambling, another form of addiction. I've seen a reverend father before he had a psychiatry, and this man not just stop gambling. So when the behavior becomes an habit, becomes an obligation, then you know there's a problem at hand. So when we talk about addiction, we should not just limit ourselves to she's smoking, this person is drinking. But there are some behaviors that we do, and which is becoming problem. And these are the things we must think about. And that is where we are bringing this to our awareness. The next slide. Okay, so what is important to disorder? Because that is what we are doing. I know you always talk about drug abuse, but I'm teaching you now. You know I'm taking everybody back to school, and the chairman of the occasion allowed me to take all of you back to school. So I won't call it drug abuse because there are several things. It is substance of abuse. I'm sure we've learned that now. So what is this? What is substance use disorder? It's a long-lasting, that's a chronic disease. It's a relapsing in your chronic brain disease that affects our mood, thought, the way we see persisting, our behavior and conscience. That means when people get the level of substance use disorder, what you call drug abuse now, and it becomes a problem for that person, it's a disease of the brain. It's a long-lasting disease. And affect the brain, affecting the way they think, the way they perceive things, their consciousness and their thoughts. And what is good to need of psychotic substance, and this substance becomes the central point in that person's life. Now, let's have a corollary of what I just said. Let's talk about a behavioral addiction. Some people, gambling is the central point of their lives. Have we seen people like that before? I work in about psychiatry. Somewhere, I think it's Oduelegba, there's this man. I don't want to be arrested like some people. I won't mention names. But you see there, maybe on Fridays, a huge number of young men waiting for the results of what they have done to see, and they are always there. And they will keep gambling and gambling. Another thing I'm bringing, although it's not in our it's ICD-10. ICD-10 is like a Bible for us as a psychiatrist. Screen addiction, phone and television is another form of another problem that is coming to the fore now, and that's why I'm bringing it out. So let's move to the next slide. Yeah. So what are these substances? They are pleasure giving, or they give you desired effect. They are easy habit forming. And they work primarily on the brain. So it works primarily on the brain to alter its functioning. And people waste similar amount of time trying to obtain, to use, and recover from the effects of this substance. Let me give an example that will help you understand what force of abuse means. There's this patient I saw in Yaba. I told you I work in Yaba psychiatry, and I don't want the people from that I don't say Nigeria to hear this. They are planned that he will be the provost of a polytechnic in the north. And you know the way we do it in Nigeria, we know the person we want to give the employment to, but we call others to make it so that to make it formal. And the man knew that he was the one that had been penciled down for this work, but he's addicted here. Pentaclofane dependent. So he has to use, he used like 15 ampoules of pentaclofane per day. It's an injection that they give you when you are doing, especially during labor. And unfortunately for me, he forgot to buy enough pentaclofane the day before the interview. So he actually, the day of the interview, he has to go to the next town. And before he could come back, they had done the interview. And the interview, and they gave the job to someone else. So you can see, pentaclofane has become the central point in that person's life. And that is what the president. So that's why we explain to us what is talking about abuse. So for this man, it's pentaclofane. And maybe I should explain to you what pentaclofane is. It is a family of heroin. It is an opioid. So they just want to have that feel, the foreign feeling that comes from it. Next slide. Yeah. So I want us to look up and look at the practice of abuse. Because as we are living here today, I want us to have a very broad view substances are related to what these things are. And the purple, that's the cocaine. The next one is, if you look at this on the other side, I wish I could. I had a pointer to show you. But to your right, well, to my own right, that's to the left, you can see similar cocaine, amphetamine, and methamphetamine. Amphetamine and methamphetamine is ice. That's what they call it, ice. Cocaine, the nicotine, for those of us that smoke cigarettes, the stimulant. Caffeine and that's the coffee tea. They are stimulants that people use. So once you start smoking those things, just know that you are gradually doing something that might hijack the next slide. So to tell you, then the next one is opioid, which are narcotics, which heroin, morphine, tramadol, and all those substances are. So you see them taking 1,450 milligrams of tramadol per day, and you're wondering because it gives them the same thing heroin instead. That's the foreign feeling that comes from it. The thing about depressants, alcohol. Alcohol is a big problem everywhere. You know, of course, that's it. And if you want to go there, if you don't buy alcohol from my father, they are not allowed to. But if you want to watch it, you didn't buy alcohol. You know, so no, just have to come back. You know, if I married your mom and been drinking, so don't come out. I sent you to school. Go and meet people outside, not food. So in my own house now, my father's house, alcohol is something that really is a regular thing. But the point is something of abuse. So I'm letting us know that these are things, and people get treated for alcohol problems in Yaba psychiatry. All over the world, people get treated for alcohol problems. So we really have to know when we indulge in such things, we have to be very careful, extremely careful. Yeah, the next one, particularly the pain. These are things. You know, people abuse failure. These are sleep medication, and this actually affect us. And the next one is LSD, money, and the rest like that. You know, we might not be able to, if there are young people here, they will understand this thing. Let's go to the next slide. I'm sure we can see that cannabis is not here, that's marijuana. The next slide is because, can I have that laptop and be pressing my phone? Okay. So look at the other grouping that has the cannabinoid, that is marijuana. And cannabis does not fit into a particular group. If you want to sleep, some people cannabis makes them sleep. So even when they want to sleep, they take cannabis makes them sleep. So cannabis is just one devil that is in its own world that people use. And there's synthetic substances. That's the Colorado, which other one? Loud, Canadian Loud, and the rest. That is where they fall into. You know, the whole essence of these dealers is to get people hooked on it for people to keep coming back. They don't care about your health status. So there are several substances that are being used, and the whole essence is that you keep coming back. The next slide. So now the question is, what happens? What is the effect? What do they gain from these substances? Like I said, they are temporary positive things. So I cannot shy away to tell you that, of course, when they start using it, initially it gives them a positive effect. They tell you that it makes them live well. So my potential once told you that because I can't talk to girls, I need to smoke something to talk to the babe I liked. So he went to and he got hooked on it. So there are several things. So initially give them some temporary good things. But after a long time, there's a permanent negative. There are permanent negative things that they get from this substance. And it depends on which substance you're using. But all I can tell you is that initially the food get some positive things that make them to continue to use. And eventually they might, when something happens, when it becomes temporary, the total comes to that person's life, they might not be able to function again. The next slide. Yeah. Because this is geared towards youth. And it's important I explain how these substances work. We can see that this is how the brain, the growth maturity of the brain. And you can see that the upper side is the side that is maturing. So the brain does not get fully matured until like age 25. That means a young growing brain, you are introducing something that actually controls it. Those substances work on the brain. I said the brain is not matured until age 25. So now imagine a 20-year-old person that is smoking. That means you are actually introducing chemicals to that brain to affect the function. Let's go to the next slide and let me show us something. Now, let's look at the effect of alcohol on the brain. This is a picture of a brain that is sliced horizontally. And see what the sober brain looks like. You can see those red, bright things showing that the brain is functioning at its maximum. But when you introduce alcohol and intoxication, see what happens. The functioning of the brain becomes reduced because an outside factor is hijacking the functioning of the brain. Let's see the next slide. What is the slide? Let's see the next slide. The finish. Yeah. How long look up? This is all the English I've been speaking. This is what it's doing. Let's imagine this young man. You can see that as those quadrants, it's an external hijack on the brain. And you can see that is brain around the cannabis. This is what happens. It takes over the functioning of the brain. It takes over the control of the brain. Let me this picture of my far right and what this picture is. This is verbal psychiatry. This boy is the last one of a 19-year-old man that brought him to the hospital and was registered on that. This guy was dependent on heroin. He had what we call heroin addiction. And of course, I saw him during the day, and we tried to give medication to help him suppress, help him cope with the withdrawal symptoms. Let me tell you what withdrawal symptoms is. When those substances take over the brain, and you don't give the brain on time, the brain will start asking for it. Because of what the brain uses to function. Now that they are not giving, the brain will start asking. And the way the brain, in heroin addiction, what happens? There might be diarrhea, there will be body weakness, there will be intense craving for function. So what happens? This guy left me in the day looking that there's an AC here, and he just wanted to escape at night to go and do it. He removed the main AC and escaped through the AC vent. So they caught him and they took his picture because they couldn't, it was so much for them that they were like, let's show your consultant tomorrow what you tried to do. And that is how much effect these substances will have on our patient, on anybody. So when we indulge in those things, just think about what will happen. It could be this bad. Next slide. Yeah. So now let's talk about consequences of these psychoactive substances, of the use of these psychoactive substances. There are many consequences. You know, I told you I work on the drug ward in Yaba Psychiatry, and my ward is always filled. Yaba is a 700-bedded hospital, and the list of people waiting to come in, it's enormous. Our outpatient clinic is, we see about 150-200 persons per day in our outpatient clinic. To tell you the rate at which people are breaking down mentally. And what is this percent of our patients have substance use problems? To tell you that people that use, they are beckoning on something, which is mental problems. And I have to tell you that those are the ones coming together. The people that have anxiety problems, sleep problems, and impaired judgment, and several other problems. So, people are the ones that have become psychotic. So even by the time you're having sleep problems, you can't sit still, you have anxiety problems, then you get complications of that substance you're taking. The next one is mental illness. You know, the liver is the part of the body that breaks down all these substances. And you can imagine what happens when you overload the liver with so many substances. It becomes damaged and it is dead. There's no liver transplant in Nigeria. The lungs, cancers, and every other problem that happen to the body system. These are liver problems. My patients are the ones that have the most liver problems in this world. Sometimes they run away from liver or from the court cases and come to the hospital. You can imagine running away from them and say, just put me here. The young people are looking for this patient outside. And I just forced to leave them there. So they are forced to like 1 year because they don't want to go home. So there are several liver problems that are related to substance. And of course, where is the problem? If people find the highest number of people that have substance problems, go to the clinic. Social problems. When substance becomes the focal point person in somebody's life, you won't be the father to his children anymore. He can't be the husband to his wife. He can't be the worker. Functionally, he won't be able to function. There's poor hygiene, and for young people, there are poor grades. So for people that feel that they can use substance to enhance their grades, it might be counterproductive for them. There's of course economic problems. Poor academic achievement, they lose their job. And in short, when you look at substance use holistically, it's a disease of the family. It's a disease that eats up the whole person and eats up the family. So we don't call it a family disease. Because if you can imagine a young boy that rapes his mom, that steals, that removed all the fittings in the house to go and sell. The one that broke, that actually blew my head with black and my head around was moving burglary. Burglary, after you have sold everything, this guy was moving the burglary in the house to come and to go and sell. I was really shocked to tell you how bad it could be. So the whole family is affected. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah. The computer has to tell all of us that we can remove them who we want them to do. So today we have quartered and the youth are the clay in our hands. So I guess that is what the White Rock Foundation wants to do, to mold the future of the youth to be who we want them to be. So they have to get, so we all have to get our hands dirty, because the potter is not just they're not like the clay on the floor. My hand is smeared. It has to be, so we can remold them to be who we want them to be. Thank you. Next slide. And how do we do it? Prevention started. I told you by the time they get to the level of addiction, it's a chronic disease. I told you, it's a chronic recurring illness. So it is good that we don't even allow it to start happening. Prevention strategy is the way to go. It is not about prevention strategy in the way to go. Next slide. And how do we all hands must be on deck? I want us to talk about this slide. I want us to all look up and look at this. It is everybody's job. The macro level environment, the government, the social and cultural environment, the micro level environment, the family, peers, school, faith organizations, and workplace. So when you work on this young man, it gives us the outcome we want. And that is the way to go. Yes, and it is good to let us know that all community institutions will affect each other. So anywhere you are working, you are all needed. All of us here, we are all needed to help this young generation, to help the youth to be who we want them to be. The future is time to come, and we have to start working now. I just thought that, like we all know, we prepare for war in time of peace. We prepare for tomorrow today. That's what White Rock Foundation is doing. Let's move on to the next one. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. Let's move to the next one. Next, okay, now let's look up again at this picture here. You know, it's about socialization. It's about behavioral change. And you can see from here that family affects our orientation from birth to middle age. If you look up again at this graph, you know, I'm sure the academia here, so they will appreciate what this graph is. If you can see that, we all get influenced all throughout life. You can see from that to there. You can see peer pressure. It affects us throughout life. I'm sure I don't get influenced by fear. We all get influenced by fear. Let's tell you how a 29-year-old man can get influenced by fear. The man looks at me. A 29-year-old man looks at me now. How a 29-year-old man can get influenced by fear? You know, on that your street, of course, you don't go to work now. Your friends will come around. And that discussion that you have affects your interpretation of day-to-day life, what happens. So we all get influenced all through life. And that is what we want to achieve with the young man, to give them the right environment so that they will have positive influences to get the right outcome. Let's go to the next slide. So we're going to talk about the primary prevention. And school-based prevention is one form of prevention that has been seriously researched into. What happens to school-based prevention? Go back. We have jumped it. Go back. Go back. Yeah. What happens in school-based prevention? We teach them age-graded life skills and peer-led intervention to give them positive attitude. Are there teachers here? Are there teachers here? It's important to let us know that school, after the family, school is the most important agent of socialization. Our children will go there from 8 to 2. That's 6 hours, and even from school now 8 to 4. because you don't want to keep them there. And people go to school throughout life. You tell them, if you see a 40-year-old man, they will say, I'm doing my PhD. So school-based intervention is the most important. After family is one area that is important. And what happens in school-based intervention? We teach them life skills. Anybody that goes to school to be showing children marijuana, cocaine, heroin, they quack. Because what are you doing? You are suggesting to them. I've seen patients in that psychiatry. They tell that they made up their mind to use when some people came to their school to show them. What happened? Because they believe that if you can use and you can get out of it, I can use out of it. So what do we do in life skill training? Which is needed information that we give to these children. Next slide. Yeah. Let's look at, for example, what we are meant to teach children in primary school. We teach them self-esteem. Self-esteem building. What happens in self-esteem building? We have to let our children know that what happens in self-esteem building. We have to let our children know that you don't have to know how to do everything, because nobody knows it all. So who you are, what you know how to do, be proud and confident of it. Because what you know how to do, some other people don't know how to do it. So that way, you don't feel less than your peers. You teach, imagine teaching a child in primary 3, that's early self-esteem. Teaching them decision-making skills. Teaching them about it's not about I want. It's about the needs. It's not about your emotion. It's about critical thinking. Teaching them coping skills. That life is meant to be. Stress is part of life. I am meant to solve these questions, to go through it, to become an adult. I tell people that there's, for some of the world, let me tell you this. There's what we call mental age and calendar age. Mental age is how many problems you have solved, the life challenges that you have gone through, your day-to-day, how developed your brain is. But your brain cannot be developed if you don't solve problems, if you don't do all these things. And calendar ages, I sleep, I wake up, the clock is ticking. I told my children this example one day that, we were watching a film, and that film, they froze someone. What is funny films? They said they froze someone for 40 years. And I asked my 13-year-old girl that, this person had been frozen from gas, and she said he's 14 years old by calendar. Does he have the experience of life that you have? She said, I don't know. He's been frozen in the freezer for 40 years. I said, that is calendar age and mental age. And you see several people like that, a 30-year-old crying like a baby in the hospital. Excuse me. So you can imagine teaching a primary 3 student coping skills, social skills, communication skills, and assertiveness. I thought someone big voice then said, and he was saying that I can't say no. You must be able to say no. So we must teach our children to say no. And when they say yes, it has to be yes. These are examples of life skills they have to be taught. And it is age-graded information they have to know. You don't have to show, and these things are shown that this is a 30-year research program, evidence-based, and it has shown it brings better outcome and output in our children. The next slide. I'm really looking forward to NGOs that will think about school-based prevention programs, because that is the way to go for me. It is important. There's a family-based training. Like my father now, that once told me that before I married your mom, I've been drinking. You know that this man will not stop. So what do I tell people like that? I will advise young people that, when we give right information to families, if you have to use, don't use in front of your children. Don't send your child to go and buy cannabis for you, to go and buy marijuana for you. Don't send your child to what you are testing and they will put in the child's mouth. I'm sure those people do that. Somebody said yes. Yes. I'm sure they've done that when I was growing up too. They will tell you that taste it. You don't do that to your young children. And I'll tell you that several people started their addiction from their parents back in Nigeria. You know, what are you modeling to your children? You know, sometimes, if there's this prayer that our children will be greater than us, some parents should not say amen to such prayers. Do you agree with me? Because they will think of greater than you. I'm a professor. My child should be better than me. But that marijuana you smoke. So it will still encompass that too. So your child should not be greater than you in smoking and those things. So family-based education too. And I want to tell parents that our children don't need that much money we are chasing. They need our time. Should I say it again? Our children don't need that much money that we are chasing, but they need our time. They need us to direct them. I've told you that family is the greatest agent of socialization. It's not the money you are throwing at them. The next slide. Okay. Then community-based programs. These days, when we build estates in Nigeria, there are no parks there for recreation. What community programs are we doing? Is it not, what do you call that thing that people be bathing naked on television? That's the type of community programs we organize now. You know, what's the name? Something Nigeria. And those not the programs we organize for children now. People don't organize inter-house sports anymore. Communities go from one community to the other, they go and do sports, games, competitions, and the rest. These are things that will help our children, that will help these youths that you want to hand over the future to. You see businesses crumble because parents are not even trained their children to hand over their businesses to them. We build children that are just mentally matured in some ways and not physically matured. But you need that academics and physical strength to be able to carry, to be success in life. The next slide. Government policies. Policies on availability. Recently there was a ban on sachet drinks. Those sachet drinks. And the House of Assembly went against it. There should be total ban on those things. But because those things make alcohol extremely available. And they are cheap. They are extremely accessible. It's a total ban. But the House of Assembly in Nigeria went against it. So what government policies are important? Affordability. Alcohol is very expensive, extremely expensive. So it's only adults that can take it if they have to take. Do you know why? There's something called gateway drugs. Of course, alcohol, cigarette, and sometimes cannabis now. It's where these young children will start from, and they move into higher drugs. So when you make it very cheap for them, that means they will start early. And so it has to be increased tax. They should not be affordable. They should not be accessible. There should be age limits to where those things, people that can buy those things. But in Nigeria, we're working on even sales venue. 300-meter radius of a school, there shouldn't be any restaurant or brothel. You can imagine a school sharing fence with a brothel, sharing fence where alcohol or all these substances are being sold. Social media use. Recently in Australia, I'm sure we heard about them banning social media on phones of children below the age of 16 because of screen addiction. Government policies should work. That earlier picture I showed you about the macro environment and the micro environment. Even our culture and what we do. If there are those bad cultures, we should drop them and take up cultures that will affect our children positively. The next slide. Now, look at this. We all affect ourselves in communities. Education, government, family, community institutions affect each other. So if it is just one, RAP wants to hold on to one community and let's work on it, it will have ripple effects on other communities. The next slide. Look at secondary prevention, tertiary and the fourth level of prevention. I'm sure we heard about schools, universities. Maybe I should tell you this story. I have a patient now, registered under me. This guy, after 6 years in the university, and they found cannabis, that's marijuana, in his bag, and he was expelled. Final year, second semester. And it's a very terrible one. And we keep writing to schools that you can't do this for this young man. If you detect, if you want to do screening in your university, to what end? It should be towards treatment. Once you take this child in your school, you can imagine sending out a final year student second semester. You caught cannabis and condom in his bag, and just when I saw the guy, I was like, what? Oh, of course, you know the letter, and they said they didn't even look at it. So that is the second level, early detection. In our local government, in our communities, people don't know that addiction is meant to be treated. It is not it's not a one-off thing. And of course, treatment and rehabilitation. Then harm reduction for adults that have decided that they just have to use. These are things that have to be put in place. Next slide. Yeah. So now let's talk about let's put all these things in context now. Significance of youth population in nation building. To what end are we talking about? It's to build our country, Nigeria. And we can't leave this youth out of it. 60% of Nigerian population are youth below the age of 25 years. And that shows high energy. Let me tell you this story about the day what I can use to explain this energy. So they are needed in the government. I once had an MD, and like 10 years ago, when she was around, and she said, anything you think of, just come and tell me in my office. Anything you think of. Because, and all she does is that, go ahead and do it. And I said, just come and share, as those things are running through your brain, come and tell me. And she told all the young consultants that we should just come and start giving her ideas. So when you get to her office and you sit down, she won't tell you it is not possible. Because it is actually possible. She said, okay, go ahead, and how do I help you achieve what you want to achieve? And that is the population we have of young people thinking out of the box. And I'm sure most of the adults here, they're like that, my MD, they say, come and tell us what you are thinking. And all she does is she just help me fine tune it. Okay, why not think about this other one? Okay, yes. And when you have any challenge, come and tell me, I will help you. And she told people outside, she didn't tell us, she told the older people that, look, those young consultants are the ones that will make the change I want to achieve. My job is to help them channel their energy. Social change and advocacy, the youth they are very important there. They are in forefront of social change and pushing reforms and improvements. Pushing reforms and improvements in our healthcare. I'm doing a research now, I'm publishing it about telehealth in Nigeria. And I realized that even the youth, despite the fact that we have not done it before in herbal psychiatry, they are all for it. And there was a question I asked that if you call you to be part of this development, will you be ready? Most of them said yes, because they are just ready to think out of the box, to put their own energy into this meaningful reform. They don't like traveling all the way to come to the hospital. Let's do it this online. That's the way to go. The next slide. Youth empowerment and collaboration. How do we do this? Education and skill development. Education, the formal education and vocational skills. Prof, sir, I keep telling some people that their greatest predicament is that certificate that they are holding, because they don't have any business in formal education. Of course, they need formal education to a level, but it is in skills, vocational skills, that they will excel. And now in Nigeria, all this funny schools that are erupting everywhere, calling themselves university. They are dashing out first class everywhere. You can hear in the school that 50% of the students got first class. When I was going to school, first class was very rare because it's meant for exceptional students. But now they tell you that 40% of their students got first class. And I'm telling you, that first class they are handing over to them is their greatest predicament. Because they think they are so brilliant when there's nothing upstairs. So by education and skill development, formal classroom education and vocational skills, entrepreneurship and economic empowerment. But I wanted to link the formal education with entrepreneurship. We need some form of level of education to be able to carry out those entrepreneurial skills that we have. So it's important. These are ways we could empower the youth. Talk about startup incubators, business plan competition. And when I read about it, I just laughed. That you bring young people together, and I've seen this before, that they will talk about their business plan and talk about in an ideal environment, and they will do competition amongst themselves. And even winners will be given a seed grant to start what they want to do. These are ways to empower Nigerian youths. The next slide. Look at leadership and governance. They're extremely important there. The youth don't even know what their rights are. You know, you see several social media judgments, and I'm like, they're not thinking critically. Or they're just moving by the wave. The youth sometimes just go in and influencer said this. What is the rationale? What is the law saying? These are things that even teaching them the civic responsibilities to their nation is part of empowerment for our youth. It makes them think out of the box to know what is within the law. It is not about the law. And and I did a law course, and I realized that the law is not moved by emotions. The rule of law is not moved by emotions. It's about evidence and what is written there expressly. So it's important that organizations empower our youth about their rights, their civic responsibilities to the nation. The next slide. In conclusion, the Nigerian nation has abundant human resources. So how do we transform it to success? How do we save this youth?
The rate of drug addicts in our society on the island, it is that bad. In every 100, you find 60 that are all drug addicts. Young boys, young girls. What happened? Before, it is not easy to buy drugs. Now it's very easy. They take glues, they take ice, they take this, they take that. And sometimes when you talk to these young girls and boys and say, why do you do this? Tell me about your parents. You will say, leave my parents, I hate my parents. I want to talk to them. I want to talk about them. The way Nigerian parents neglect their children has led into drug abuse. Peer influence. You want to, I want to have this cloth, but I'm not working. I have to do everything to have it. So at the expense of taking drugs or dating someone that will give me drug and stuff like that, parents don't listen to their children anymore. There is no communication between parents. There is no interaction. There is no love. And I was asking someone, I said, when last did your mother tell you, I love you? She said she don't know. So a lot of parents don't tell their children they love you. So this push a lot of children outside. You just want to hear that word, I love you. You're beautiful, your dress is nice. That's like say you need to teach your children. If you don't teach it the right way, someone is going to teach them the wrong way. Look at our society today. So many drug addicts in our society. So many road beating in our streets. And it's getting worse. That is why you need to start from us. As a parent, your first priority is your children. Interaction, communication, Most parents don't even know when their daughter have their first period. They don't even know. So the driver, the cook, will be the one to start telling them. They will talk to the cook and say, "Oh, my period." I then will take advantage of those girls. A lot of people like me, a lot of young girls, a lot of girls like me went through this, are still going through this. I was lucky enough to survive it. Being an alcoholic, almost went into drugs. I can smoke 20 packets of cigarettes. I drink, I club. That's just my lifestyle. When I was tired, all these things were not working for me again. I don't want to take my life. I was very lucky, rescued by someone that sent me back to school. So I dropped out of school. A lot of young girls and boys are not that lucky. And we neglect the boy child, focusing more attention on the girl child. Now the boy child sodomized even more than the girl child. So you don't tell the parents anything. They are desperate, they are frustrated, they are in pains. What would they do? They feel the only place they find comfort is drugs. They take drugs. Rehabilitation is not an easy thing to do. So you have to get an organization that have to rehabilitate you. That is if the young boys and girls want to go for rehab. That's what we're telling parents. Talk to your children. Listen to their children. You give birth to your children. You will know your child. You know when your child is this and later your child become that. Talk to them. Know what is happening in their life. I was telling the parent, I said, she was telling me, she said, her daughter was misbehaving when she's going to school, she's kind of misbehaving. I said, check her back. Like she'll be scared and, put things. I said, check her back. So apparently she said drugs. So she said the drugs and she also picked the drugs. So it is bad. Our parents now are pushing money, but we neglect the children. They just neglect the children. You don't know what is happening in their life anymore. You have to talk to your children, know the kind of friends your children keep. Know why they go to school and they come back late. Check on them in school. Even when you check on them in school, I have parents, pastor children that their parents come to check for them in school. When their parents leave by 7 p.m., 7:30, go for party. They take all kind of drugs. So talk to your children. Get pictures of children that listen to their parents that don't take drugs. How beautiful their life is. Then get picture of children that don't listen to their parents that take drugs and how their life become bad. Show them all this example. Don't be scared. We need to make our society, we need to make our society free from drugs. But I'm sorry to say, but I don't see that ending soon. We don't do something about it. And it needs to start from us, the parents. So I'm sorry, I have arthritis. I've been sick for days now, but because of my daddy, I have to come. So I need to make this short. And thank you very much.
Beautiful family in Kaduna State in the mid-80s. Very strong Christian family. And then my parents had the idea of parenting as making sure that my brothers and I grew up with all of the family values, especially being in church, Make sure your children are in church. I was that kind of child. From the age of 3, I was always in every service, anything that they were doing in church. My mother would drag my brothers and I would happily go. Even when it was women fellowship, she would take me and my brothers. So long as the church gate was open, we were there. And then I went to Christian primary school, Christian secondary school, and even though I came fourth in JAMB and I had options to go to any university I wanted to go to in Nigeria to study law, my parents said, you must go to Christian University. And so I ended up in a Christian university, Covenant University actually. Now, ironically, it was on the grounds of Covenant University that I had my first exposure to drug use. And I like to tell people wherever I'm opportune to speak, the truth is that there's no place you can take your children to that you are going to shield them from substance use, except you keep them in your bedroom. The moment they step out of your bedroom, this morning I was with Ambassador because we wanted to take some tea, and just outside this place I saw people smoking marijuana. So everywhere, church, mosque, I'll get to some stories very shortly. So I was in university, 200 level. A group of friends said, David, let's go to, they were building the library then because we were in the pioneer set in 2002. So they were building the university library, gigantic edifice, 4-story building. It was unfinished at the time. They said, let's just stroll there. When you climb on top, you can see the entire altar. So I said, okay, let's go. So I went there, we climbed on top, and we're looking, and then I saw people in that unfinished building, people I used to see and respected so much, people in student council, smoking, drinking. Now, if you know Covenant University is inside a church. It is fenced inside a church that is fenced. So, how was there access? Some of us put our children in, let's not start naming so that your heart won't start beating. And then when I speak to them now, they say, Mr. David, it's so easy. It's so easy to get any drug that you want. So that was my situation. But that day I didn't use any substances. I just went back to my hostel and I kept on thinking about what I had seen. It was the first time. This was a young boy from northern Nigeria who grew up in the north. We weren't so used to seeing people drinking. So as God will have it, I finished from school. I finished my YSN. I went to UK for my masters. I went to London, Oxbridge, Brunel University. Now, I rented a flat, or my parents rented a flat for me with 2 other students. One was from Spain, one was from Italy. As soon as my mother came back to Nigeria, it was as if I found myself in another world of drugs. This one was now worse. I now started seeing the type I've not even seen in Nigeria. The type that needs paraphernalia to use. When you are setting up to start using the drug, it's like it's a scientific process. So I got exposed to that again, and I started experiencing peer pressure. So at that time, I was working at an old people's home, taking care of old people. I was earning £6.20 an hour. These people in my flat will tell me, David, will pay you the money you're going to earn for the day if you take drugs with us. So imagine being caught between going to go and clean up the vomit of an old person you don't know, or staying at home using drugs and getting paid. So when I talk to youths now and they tell me about peer pressure, I tell them, what do you know about peer pressure? That was pressure. It was far away in an unknown land, and people were offering me money to use drugs. So this lasted for about 6 months, and then I started experimenting with substances. I got back to Nigeria for a family function, and another friend who was in my school now introduced me to crack cocaine. Those of us who are familiar with the drug will know it's a very elusive, very addictive, very dependent substance. It's a hell of a drug. Most people who go into it don't come out. Most, if you know what crack cocaine is, most people who go into it don't come out. So I started using, and very quickly, because I'd come back from UK, my mom rented me a nice house in Guarimpa, bought me a nice car. I spent all of the money I had, savings I had before I left for the UK, all of the money I'd come back with. At the time, talking about 2011 or so, I'd spent about 3 million naira between August and December in 2011. And then by January, I now got introduced to selling my property for drugs, because I didn't know people do that. So when I didn't have money and I'm begging the person selling it, he said, okay, why don't you give me your wristwatch? So you take the wristwatch, he said, yes, take. And from there, the apartment that was rented for me, I sold everything. And then I sold my car. And then I took my international passport to my visa and I gave it as collateral to a dealer. And he gave me drugs for it. And I had nothing left. So one day I sat in the apartment that was once very beautiful. I looked around, there was nothing. When I was about to go to that apartment, my mom gave me a chandelier as a housewarming gift. So I called the guy that sells the drugs. I said, come. And these people can be very mean when they know you don't have money. He insulted me, insulted my father, insulted my mother, insulted my whole generation. He said, you don't have money. Why are you calling me? He sold everything. I said, no, that golden light in the living room, do you want it? He said, it's coming. Everything. Anything you have to give them, they'll take it. So he came and then he loosened it and he took it. And he took out all the bulbs in the apartment. So at night, when I finished using drugs, I was in darkness. Abject darkness. And so I now told my landlord, because they paid the rent for 2 years, I'd stayed for only 3 months and sold everything in the house. I called my landlord, I said, look, I'm leaving your house. I lied to him. I said, I'm going back to the UK. I need my money back. And he said, he's going to give me for only 1 year. So I was going to, and I had to leave the house. So I was going to forfeit 9 months. So I said, okay, no problem. Now that time, this bank transfer wasn't so common, 2011. So he said I should meet him at a particular bank the next day. As early as 6 a.m. I was there because I needed money. So and true to his word, by 8 a.m. he came. And when he came, we went into the bank, he gave me the form to sign, I signed it, and he gave me my rent, 750,000 naira. So I got out of Zenith Bank that morning and I started trying to make calls to the guy that is selling, to tell him that now I have money. So you were abusing me yesterday. Now I am a big boy. I have money. And I was making the calls, but the guy didn't believe me. He kept on insulting me as usual and saying, get out this, that, this. So I got frustrated, I got apprehensive. I was pacing back and forth in front of the bank. And somebody I didn't know just walked up to me and asked me in Hausa language that it seems I want to buy wire. That's what we call it in the north. It's like you want to buy wire. So I said, yes. So say, okay, I should follow him. That instead of calling people, he will take me to where you can go there and just sit down and relax and enjoy yourself. You don't need to call people to come. So that's the first time I knew that there were places where drugs are sold and people can live there. So I followed him. So this was me following somebody I do not know to a place I do not know with 750,000 naira in pockets. So we got there. And when we got there, it was just a short fence. So we just climbed the lines and he kept on walking. And everybody I saw that morning, it was around 9 a.m. Young people, literally looking like zombies, stoned, looking dejected. And so we were walking, I was walking behind him. The place was dirty, filthy, there was vomit on the floor, there was excreta on the floor. It wasn't a place habitable for any human being to stay in. But I followed this guy and we got to the person that was selling the drugs. Now the person that was selling the drugs was the only neatly dressed person in the place. Ironically. Why? Because he does not take it. So he was the only neatly dressed person there. Every other person was wearing rags, not wearing proper clothes, didn't have shoes on their feet, their hair was not cut, and all of that. And so he asked the guy that brought me how he knows me. And that one just said, no, he knows me. So he asked me a few questions about the drug and everything. So I answered in flying colors to show him that I was a bona fide first class student. So he brought out the most amount of cocaine I had ever seen in my life. So when parents are oblivious to the fact that some of these substances exist right underneath our noses, it just makes me wonder. And so in 3 days I had spent 750,000 naira. And then my eyes opened. I had no house to go to, I had no car to drive, I had no friends because I liked all my friends, collected money from all of them. So I was just there. So they gave me piece of empty carton of an electronic device and just said I should go and look for where to be lying down. And to cut the long story short, that became my new home for almost 7 years. So this was me, was born into a very good home. Had several opportunities to do whatever I wanted to do in my life. Came fourth in JAMB. Schooled in some of the best schools at home and abroad. I had now subjected myself to the torture, to the misery of substance use. In the period of these 7 years. Paula, you said I should run? Okay, I need to stop. Okay, so just give me a minute or two, I'll be done. So in the period of these 7 years, I lost 4 of my friends. I don't mean friends that I just knew as friends. I mean, one of them went to Scotland University, was my friend. Died of a drug overdose. I went in and out of rehab at home and abroad, and it was just as if it was getting progressively worse and worse and worse. Well, my message here today is the key out is prevention, just like Dr. Koyejo was saying. However, for whoever knows anybody who is also struggling with substance use, then it's not a death sentence. If I could come out of it, every other person can come out of it. I mean, I became on the streets of Abuja, literally, people knew me because I was that junkie that would walk from Usetu to Guaripa. For those that know Abuja, I was in and out of almost all the police stations there, so all the police people knew me. NDLA arrested me multiple times. But you see, when everything turned around, I started this work of substance use prevention and recovery in particular. And in 2022, I was invited to the presidential villa by the then President Muhammadu Buhari on the occasion of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. I told this same story. While I was saying it, one of the senior police officers, who I didn't know I had an experience with at the time I was using substances, came out crying openly and said, if this young man can come out of substance use, then we shouldn't write anybody off. And that is part of what White Rock Addiction Awareness Foundation is bringing to today. A message of hope. A message of hope that we don't to write anybody off. It's actually possible for people to struggle with these things. Experts like our chairman, evidence-based treatment method facilitates the treatment, rehabilitation, recovery of that person. Thank you.
My Secretary General has been telling us. I'm going to start where he actually stopped. This foundation is bringing nothing but a message of hope. Everyone present today, I want you to understand one salient fact. Drug and alcohol abuse is a disease. If you have diabetes, you will go to hospital. If you have high blood pressure, you go to hospital. All other long-term diseases, you have doctors for them. Why are we not having doctors for drug and alcohol? Is equally a disease. The stigma you put on people using drugs, we need to drop it from today. Those people should not be isolated within a community. They need your help. They need our help. When you listen to the special guest speaker talking about how we abandon our children, it's not only in cases where we abandon children, in cases even when you try to over pamper your children.
you will still run into this problem. Please and please, we need to understand this country, there's nothing they call country. A country is just made up of people. We are the people. When they talk about government, we are the government. When they talk about society, this is society. So it is high time we understand you are not waiting for Buhari or Tinubu in order to get anyone supported when they are going through this drug life. I'm appealing to everyone here today. If you have one within your family, we have it within our neighborhood, or even at the extended level, please show a helping hand by signposting them to where they need to go. White Rock Addiction Awareness Foundation is located, we have offices here in Lagos, we have in Abuja, we have in Ekiti. There are few locations already that is operating. Please give a helping hand and support people in addiction. Thank you.
Yeah. We are not decided where to be. We don't know where. Yeah, we know already. By the grace of God, every one of us benefited from this. We had this issue with us. Addiction. We might not realize it, but addiction is real. Among our youth, opposition leaders is real. But all what we ask every one of us to do is to continue to push, pray until something happens.
And do. Yes.
Yes, do that. I don't know how to express it. We have problems that we don't know about it. When we talk of addiction, it's real. And we need, it's treatable, be safe. We don't need to go to Monte for hours or for all day. That won't help. Let me tell you something. Prayer helps, but not in addition that prayer alone will help. It's like when you're testing your God, that you're going to pray, manna will never fall from heaven. You have to put effort for the treatment. That's why we bring this to the country. The first of this kind of treatment in the country we call Nigeria, God's country. What we're doing now, no number one in Nigeria from beginning 1960 till now that have what we're doing now. We are number one to do it. TC, therapeutic community, to help our future leaders to do it. And we need your support, not only by saying it, not by only Fidokoyewa, penny, 1 naira, 10 naira, 100 naira, 1 million. A drop of water big ocean. I'm a Baptist minister, Southern Baptist minister. I believe in offering wherever you can. This is our first fundraising. Whatever you give us today is highly appreciated. Not the gift of the lover, but the love of the giver. Whatever you give us, it will be highly accepted, and God will provide for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Once again, we thank you for your time, for being able to persevere with us. Daddy has given a motivational talk when it comes to April fundraising. We will appreciate whatever. Like one of the supermarkets in Britain will say, Tesco will say, a little, right? It makes, it makes much. So let's try to support the foundation in any way. About less than 48 hours ago, the warmest donation I ever received. I told the patron yesterday. That was from Amber Global. They are not here. This is based in Abuja. It's one of our neighbors sharing the building, the office building with us in Abuja. They donated a landed property to White Rock Addiction Foundation. It's not in a remote area, so that's what actually baffles me. Anyone that knows Abuja very well, when they talk about the CDA, which is the Central District area, you will be talking about the Jabi, and this is after Jabi area. And I said, I know these properties. Yeah, we are donating a plot to White Rock Addiction. So let me give a round of applause to Amber Properties and Abuja. So I will call on the representative to call an announcement for the foundation.
Thank you. And if you donate all or investing, just about it as not really just a matter of your funds and your resources, investing in the future of the youth.
Represent is Chief Sunday Aina. Can we give a round of applause?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was sent here by my national president, Alhaji Mugabe Mohammed, who is the president of Nigerian Automobile Technician Association, while I'm the deputy president. On behalf of NATA, Nigerian Automobile Technician Association, we are sending our money and our donation, and our PRO has touched with the patron. So we will get in touch with you, and we are going to send our donation as early as possible. I will contact my president now that I am here. So before we left here, I will tell you what we are sending.
Thank you, sir. The screen, so if you all look in the back, the screen, all of your contributions and donations are 100% to the foundation. This is all volunteer work. There's no salaries that is taken out of your donation. So please, you can all look to the screen. We are accepting from a Naira accounts. We have pounds accounts, euro accounts, and dollar accounts. GTB Bank, White Rock Addiction Awareness Foundation is the account name. So if anyone would like to get that information, it's all projected on the screen. We're going to officially kick off the fundraising, the launch. We have Mrs. Chief Olabi that is going to kick us off with the official fundraising launch. You can join us, ma'am.
Praise the Lord. Àǹtí wa mọ̀rọ̀ kan ti dìde, wọ́n ní òyìnbó ti pọ̀. Àwọn fẹ́ sọ Yorùbá. Àwọn gbẹ̀yìn òyìnbó ẹ̀ làwọn náà fún òwe láti pọ̀. Lọ́ba tún fọ́ pẹ̀rẹ̀pẹ̀ àti ẹ̀sọ́gbọ́n báwọn ń sọ. Nínú mi dùn láti wà ní ìbùdó ọpọlọ. Ó ní pé mo jẹ́ òtẹ́líà. Nǹkan tí wọ́n ń sọ sì gbé mi dáradára. Ní ọdún tó kọjá, mo experience nǹkan tí mi ò rí rí láyé nípa ọmọ tó mọ drug. Níbi wípé ó dára gbogbo tẹ́ bá wà fẹ́ dára, Jésù dára sí mi. Ọmọ kan tó mu drug tó ti síkì bí oṣù mẹ́ta, dọ́tọ́ rẹ̀ tó tàn jáde ló wá sí hòtẹ́ẹ̀lì. Wọ́n ti swimming pool wa o, torí 6 ní ìjọba sọ pé a gbọ́dọ̀ tí a ti. Ọmọ yẹn wá mú kíní ẹ̀, gbogbo àwọn èèyàn ti lọlé. Ó wá sọ fún àwọn tó wà káàkiri pé ẹgbẹ́ òṣì swimming pool ara àwọn gbóná fún wọn swimming pool. Àwọn èèyàn ni wọ́n ti tì í. Gáàdì dẹ̀ ti lọ sí ilé. Wọ́n ti pẹ̀lú gbogbo agbára tó ní. Ó ń láti fi gbogbo irin yẹn kọ́ sínú ilé. Ó sì wúlù sí láìpẹ́. Ṣé ẹ rí ọ̀rọ̀ drug tí wọ́n ń sọ? Ẹni tó bá ní experience ẹ̀ kó sẹ́ni tí ó kàn ó. Ṣé ẹ rí ẹni tí ó kàn bí iṣẹ́ á kan ọ̀rẹ́ ẹ̀? Ẹni tí ó kan ọ̀rẹ́ ẹ̀, ọmọ ẹ̀ ń jìnlẹ̀ mú. Gbogbo wa kàn gbé gèrè ní níta àpò mọ́ra sábẹ́ aṣọ kò ṣeé sọ síta. Nítorí náà, ohunkóhun tá a bá gbúròó orúkọ báyìí, let us support torí pé kò tiẹ̀ easy tí Nàìjíríà ti wá peléke. Wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbé wọ bí ni wọ́n ti wá gba gbèrè ẹ̀ gan àti bọ́ọ̀mù àti drug. Ọlọ́run á ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Marvel Hotel, lórúkọ Marvel Hotel, little tèmi á fún 250,000.
Thank you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and take our notebook around. Hopefully that you all heard what she was saying. I can translate if it's needed. Okay, I can translate. So we want to make sure you need some translation. You say you want to translate. You want to donate? Okay, yes, sir. You can come on up. So we're going to take the mic around. We're going to use this as our time for pledge. If you can maybe have just a little bit of light music in the background, but we're going to go ahead and just take the mic around. We'll write it down. We'll take your donations. Those that would just like to send their donations direct, we have all of our platforms, our accounts here, GTB, Bank, White Rock Addiction Awareness Foundation. Again, your contributions, your donations, 100% to the organization. Also, we have Daniel who spoke earlier. His organization is also offering CPR and first aid training. There's a lot of free resources. They have mental health rehabilitation services, patient care services, several services. So one of the things that you can also receive is treatment and care for treatment in your native language. They're able to offer these services in Yoruba and Igbo and Hausa and other languages. So some of the services you said include the certified nursing assistant, personal support worker, first aid and CPR, mental health and substance abuse, addiction, rehabilitation, and a recreational aid.
Now, particularly for the first aid and CPR, you will notice in our city, when somebody passes out on the road, the first thing people start doing is take out their phone and start recording or get water to pour the person. That doesn't fix the situation. So what we're trying to do is to begin to educate our society on how to respond to emergency situation. It's basic CPR. Somebody passes out, there are certain things that you can do to resuscitate that person, bring that person to life. Resuscitate might be too much of a big word. So what we have done is we're translating the training program into native languages. I'm sorry I don't speak Hausa, but it's nice to have the Hausa today. But we're going to translate that to the different 3 major languages that are recognized in Nigeria. We start from Nigeria, of course. So we're translating it to Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa, so you can get CPR training in your native language. That way, at least you know what to do, how to start, the kind of help to call for when somebody is in need, and not pure water, right? So we're trying to change that narrative. So that's basically some of the things that we're doing. And we're doing this in collaboration with GCI Caregivers Foundation. That way we're able to offer this free and actually get people to, donate towards that cause, because it's a huge one. It's a huge cause that we're very passionate about. Thank you very much. And again, we have flyers. If you want more information about what we do, you can kindly pick up one of our flyers. Thank you very much.
So for CPR first aid, these are free services, free training. So please contact them so that you can get trained so that you can be a responder in these situations, and it's free. Thank you so much.
Yes, so you can do that. So you don't only have to get the training and travel. We have people that have graduated from our academy and started businesses providing care to people that need it here in Nigeria, and you're doing very, very well. You can start your independent business where you actually just go to people, and there are lots of people that live abroad looking for who to take care of their aging parents back home. It's a growing demand for that. So we're not only just providing training, we're also providing information on how you can use this training to better your life. Right, so these are the things that we're doing. In addition to some of the free training that we're giving, we also, Paraclet Health Hub Academy is also going to be donating 50,000 to White Rock.
Thank you for your contribution and your donation. So we're going to go ahead and move we're going to start moving the mic around. We have another donator here. Please, your pledge. We also want to go ahead and write it down. Our General Secretary is going to go ahead and take the name so that we can just be able to follow up with you. But those of you that are doing your pledges, we have the information on the platform. Yes, your pledge.
Thank you for having me. Moki Oluka, Father and my name. I'm very lucky to be here. I would have been lost to joy, but God help me out. On behalf of my staff, Geocom Nigeria Company, we're into interior. Call it, define it, we're bringing life to you. we're donating 150,000 naira. Not just that alone. I know they're going to erect a lot of buildings in the heart of Nigeria, and we're ready to give this White Rock Aviation Foundation 50% discount on any interior job they're going to do. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so as we're getting the pledges, we're gonna come around. We know that a lot of people have our etch, so we should have had you grace us with some music, ma.
Send us donation. What's that?
Okay, Bosak Bank is also going to contribute to us, so we can also write that down, David, as well. So we're coming around, we're ready, I'm bringing the mic. I know lots of people are ready to contribute and donate to the White Rock Addiction Foundation. Yeah, thank you. Bosak is here. Bosak is going to donate and contribute an anonymous amount. Mr. Kola Bego, thank you so much for your donation. I'll let them know. Bosak, Mr. Kola Bego.
On behalf of Bankele Foundation and Aikela Bukaba Fado Medical, we donate 150. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We have them. Are you okay? Okay. Okay. Who else? We have some people here. I'm gonna bring the mic. No, remember again, no amount is too small. We are taking dollars, pounds, naira, everything. Oh boy. Nothing is too small. Anywhere from 1 naira, 1 pound, $1. No amount is too small. I have my friends here. My friend here, Tinky Topper, that traveled with me. Pharmacist. I know she wants to give her donation. I'm gonna put her on the spot. You don't want to take them out.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for including me. I said I should stand up. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for including me. As my friend Paula said, I did come with her from the United States, and I am very, very happy to be here. And I would like to offer a donation in dollars and $100.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Still taking dollars, pounds, naira, anything. We appreciate your donation. Thank you so much, Topper. Thank you. Unicoli. You'll collect your own soup. Thank you. Anyone else? I know that sometimes bringing the mic around might be a lot, but remember again, your donation is what we are using to invest in the future of our youth. Any elegance? We can bring some paper around. You can also write on a sheet of paper, and then we can just account for it. I'm going to get a booklet, some sheet of paper from David now, our General Secretary. You can just write it down. You don't have to announce them. You can write it down. We can let you know what the donation will be. So I'll come around with a sheet of paper. You can just write your name, maybe your phone number, and you can bring that around as well. I'm going to have someone that will come and help me just as we're coming around to take care of that thing. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Peter Adewale Adeotu. With respect to this foundation, it's a welcome development to our country. We appreciate the chairman, the vision, and also those who are the organizers. In Nigeria, we know that drug abuse is a scourge among the youth. It has permeated down to the grassroots. And this is a very good opportunity for the parent for both son and sundry to come together and fight this scourge of drug abuse. And we must permeate into the society, into the grassroots, right from those who are importing it, those who are manufacturing, to those who are consuming it. There must be efforts to combat it. And combating it, it doesn't mean that maybe we should just say it on the mouth. So that's not a rhetoric. We must invite the government agencies, the NDLEA, to do their work, and also the campaign should continue with aggressiveness, so that all the abusers, those who are the addicts, rather than drug addicts, and those who are also proponents, who are merchandising the lives of people using drug abuse, will be brought to a conclusion of eradicating drugs in our society. Thank you so much.
The 1-year anniversary and fundraising ceremony of the White Drug Addiction Awareness Foundation is very critical to the times and seasons we belong to. Of course, we're talking about the problem of drug and alcohol and addressing the youth as nation builders. I think it was a successful event. All the key stakeholders were expected to be here, were here. And even the keynote address by Dr. Okoye-Ojo addressed the issue at hand. So thankful to everybody who made donations towards the programs of White Drug Addiction Foundation. I want everyone to see it as an investment in the youth, in the future of the youth of our country. Thank you very much.
My name Ambassador Musa Ken, an FPC chairman and board of trustees of White Drug Addiction Awareness organization that is rooted out of nationalistic aspiration, out of love for the youth of Nigeria, for the youth of the world. I want to appreciate so much the giant stride taken by the chairman of this noble organization, Dr. Nasiru Olatunji, who have took his time to travel all the way from United Kingdom just for the love he have to liberate the masses of this country, together with our able patron, friend Dr. Baba David Kayode, who is also a drug expert, a politician from America, of Nigerian extraction. These contributions are very so necessary in order to develop the country, because a country cannot develop where the highest numbers of population, which is the youth that constitute over 60% of the population, are left to indulge in drugs addiction. This is reducing the productivity capacity of the country, and we therefore deem it fit to bring out with something to contribute our own quota in assisting the people, assisting the government to build a strong nation that is devoid of drugs addiction. And we also want to use this opportunity to also thank all people that come from near and far attend this our fundraising and 1-year ceremony of the White Drug Addiction Awareness Foundation. I thank you so much for all your contributions. Thank you.
We want to advise the youth to stay out of drug. And the White Drug Addiction Foundation is creating awareness and trying to tell Nigerian youth to stay out of drug so that they can have useful. We don't want a situation where we youths will now find ourselves miserable and having White Drug Addiction Foundation in Nigeria is a very good thing, and we are very, very happy about it. I believe this will go a long way in helping bring those who are already, into drug out of drug, and they'll become useful to the society. Youths, your family needs, your society needs White Drug Addiction Foundation.